All right. So, first time I've gotten back into podcasting, but first ever episode of Big Game Hunter and OKPreps Podcast. I credit Cimarron girls coach Garrett Eaton for coming up with the title on that one. A pretty catchy title, too. But figured today I would revisit the two best boys games I've covered. So I think the first one we'll start off with would be Putnam City North versus Shawnee in the Mustang Holiday Classic. So I think we know why this game is well known, but I'll get into that in a minute. So this game, I gotta say, there wasn't any really big lead changes. It was really close all throughout. First quarter, you had a 1-point lead. Then second quarter at halftime, you had a 2-point lead. They'd be tied going in the third quarter. And then here's where it gets really interesting. So fourth quarter, I think it's a 1-point Shawnee lead. Because I remember Jalen Orange was fouled. And I believe the Panthers were over the limit. So, actually, no, they were in double bonus because he had 2 free throws. So he sinks both free throws, gives the Wolves a 3-point lead, 57-54. And, well, I'm sure all of you guys have heard of the shot heard around the world, as I call it. And, well, this clip right here is actually... I'm going to pull it up. If this one was the buzzer beater after the 2 free throws, although I think I got the free throws first too. Indeed, there's a reason they call that the shot around the world, or at least that's what I called it. And actually, I said I had both free throws. It was just the one when it was a 56-54 lead. He sunk the second to make it a 3-point ball game. But, yeah, no, I happened to be in a really good angle when I got that on video. I remember... I was behind the basket on the PC North side of the court. And, oh man, I can remember in the words of the Mustang play-by-play guy that anything could happen. And he called it. And then I remember he was saying it reminded him of the buzzer beater from the Thunder and Pelicans game, which... I actually remember that game pretty well. In fact, I think I actually watched that game. If any of you guys remember that when the Thunder and the Pelicans played each other, and who was it that hit that buzzer beater? I'm going to look that up real quick. Okay, now I remember it was Devontae Graham that hit it, and I believe it was after SGA hit the go-ahead 3. Okay. I just had to look that up for reference because it had been a while since it had happened. But I remember just scoring in that game was on all cylinders because I think for Putnam North, Xander Baker and Mantrell Dean led all scorers with 19 and 17. Whereas for the Wolves, Jalen Orange had 32 and Tanner Morris had 24. So you're talking about scoring from all cylinders. And we'd be tied at 57. Putnam North never trailed after that, and they ended up winning it in overtime like 70-65. And we had already had one game go overtime that day because I believe a couple games before that, Putnam City North girls played Kingfisher. That game went to overtime as well. So, yeah, that was our second game in overtime on the day. No, I wasn't the only one that got that on video either. I know whoever runs the OKPreps Report Twitter page, they got it on video too, but they was at a different angle than I was. I believe they was on the Shawnee side of the gym. But I remember and if you ever been to Mustang's gym, you'll know what I'm talking about. You know how you can see the hospitality room from that angle? That's the side of the gym I was on. And I guess, filmer's instincts, I guess. Of course, my years of filming for my alma mater and the Putnam Panthers, I just had that instinct. It's that way in the biggest games. Oh, it's the same way for football, baseball, and softball too. When I got the instincts, I just grab my phone or grab my camera, and the next thing you know, I'm recording it on video. Still wish I would have interviewed Xander Baker at the time, but I did not do my first interview until that next day because I remember I was still quite nervous about interviewing players and coaches because I'd never done it before, but I learned from the best in Cam Jordan himself because I remember first interviews I did, I interviewed the Paparonis sisters and Lacey Steele for Edmond North, and then I interviewed a couple boys from Mustang. I believe that was Jacoby Johnson and Ethan Scott. Okay, yeah, it was. But overall, though, the Putnam North Shawnee game, yeah, that was a game that had you on the edge of your seat in the fourth quarter because, we either had a tie or a lead change. And then, Xander Baker just heaved it from full court. Nothing but net. And it's I believe it's I remember the play-by-play for Mustang. It's he referenced the Thunder and Pelicans game, and then, yep, that's what it reminded me of too. So, leads me into my second game that I enjoyed covering, and that was the Class 3A Boys State Championship at the Big House between Millwood and Community Christian. And I remember Millwood was one of the favorites, and I remember prior to the state tournament, it's I knew it was probably going to be Millwood or OCS because those were the two favorites amongst everyone else in the Riders. Now, I remember CCS was definitely a surprise team because I remember ranked outside of the top 8 for all but one rankings. And then they turned on the Jets in the playoffs. Okay, yes, yeah. And then I remember saying going in that the winner of Washington and CCS in the first round was going to make some noise, and they did. And I remember in this game, I was all there are tons of matchups to watch. I knew 2 players to watch for sure was Jaden Nickens for Millwood and then By Job for CCS. And, it's crazy. It's after the third quarter, they're up by 14, but then that's when the comeback would be on. Because I remember CCS would come back, tie it at 50 all. Because I remember they were down by 2, and and it was a blocking foul, if I remember. It was a blocking foul, and I can't remember if they were in the act of shooting or if they were in double bonus. I don't remember, but they sink both free throws as well. And then, like, I'll tell you, there's a lot of dunking going on in that game. In fact, I actually have a clip of one of the buzzer beaters. So that clip I showed, that was the buzzer beater at the end of the third quarter to push the lead to 14. I remember like CCS was looking to go for the last shot, and the pass gets intercepted by Nickens, ran it back and dunked it. And I actually sort of figured it was going to be a dunk because he had nobody in front of him or behind him. Like, he turned on the Jets and he was gone. I lost track of how many dunks there was because I remember in the fourth quarter, there was an inbounds pass to By Job. Dunked it. Because I believe, okay, quote me if I'm wrong, but don't quote me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what brought it within a 2-point game. But yeah, we're tied at 50 all. I believe Millwood is just coming out of a timeout, if I remember right. And then, oh yeah, I think this clip I'm about to show, yeah, I think this one's going to refresh the memory of some. Yep, that indeed is the shot that started the legacy of Chance Bubba Davis. Yep. Only a freshman, too. And, okay, that wasn't the clip that they showed on SportsCenter, because I believe that was the one where he was telling his teammate to trust him and he was going to make this. I don't have that clip. There was actually a couple different clips. I know that guy had one, and then there was the one Nick Sardis of the Daily Oklahoman took. Now, the one Nick Sardis took was more of like a wide angle, if I remember right. Yeah, it was a bit of a wide angle. And then the one where he told his teammate to trust him, that one was kind of about in the same angle as mine. But it's like after Millwood called that timeout and they inbounded it, and I just got my phone out because I was all like, something's about to happen, and it's probably going to be a big shot to decide the game. But now there was three possible outcomes after that timeout. They beat the clock and win the state championship. They cough up the ball, CCS recovers and wins the state championship, or we go to overtime. Well, like I said, we know which one of those happened. And then I know after the game, I actually caught up with Chance Davis after the game. So I'm here with Millwood's Chance Davis. So you had 10 points and you hit the game-winning shot to win you guys the first championship since 2013. What was the momentum going into this game?
I mean, it's great because I had a great team and coaching staff behind me. I mean, I couldn't do it without them. I know I hit the last one shot, but without them, I wouldn't be here. I mean, it's a great experience, and I couldn't ask for a better coaching staff and family. I wouldn't here without God either. All up to God.
All right. And what's the excitement that you guys just tied Booker T. Washington for most state titles in state tournament history?
It's amazing, but next year, we're going to come back and we're going to beat it next year. For all for centuries and centuries.
That's awesome, folks. That was Millwood's Chance Davis. Thank you very much. But yeah, it's the excitement I remember after the game. You know, at the big house, how they tell the fans to keep off the floor. I'll tell you how hype it was. You had a couple Millwood fans get out on the floor, and I mean, like I said, I know they don't let fans on the floor at the big house, but oh man, the hype was real at that game. Well, you guys seeing that clip where angle I was at, I think, I was sitting over where the teams that are spectating, that are either waiting to play or there, that's kind of where I was set up. Could you imagine the view if I was on press row, though? And that was the view, Nick Sardis had, clearly. Well, I was on press row for one game, but it was the previous week when Class A and B played, because I believe the one game I was on press row, Sealing and Caddo Girls was playing. But yeah, it's definitely a different experience on a view for sure. But oh yeah, and the thing about Millwood, I think the majority of their roster was freshmen and sophomores. They had a couple juniors, but their core was young. And that is a dynasty in the making right there. The group with like Jaden Nickens and Chance Davis and that bunch, that is a dynasty waiting to happen. And I'm actually looking forward to covering Millwood again next year. I know I heard where Millwood got in the Dale tournament. I'd pay real money to see a Dale Millwood matchup, because like Millwood has one of the top players in the state in Jaden Nickens, and then Dale is one of the top players of the state in Dayton Forsyth. Yeah, if we ever got that matchup in that tournament, I guarantee it'd be standing room only, because the gym would be packed. And that is just like a definite marquee matchup. Ooh, but yeah, those are definitely two of the best boys games I ever covered. And I remember, like I said, whenever like CCS erased the 14-point deficit, that's how you knew the comeback was on. And anytime you got a team that comes back from more than 10 points down, yeah, you got yourself a ball game. I think that's going to about do it for this episode. And just like bear with me. This is my first time doing a podcast in a while. Actually, a couple of years, but first of many episodes. And hopefully I can maybe get some players and coaches on for like an interview and whatnot. But hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll catch you guys in the next episode.